What's up, amigos? Today I wanted to go over PvP in Diablo 4 and what I think about it. So PvP will be based on certain zones in each region. Planes of hatred will be scattered throughout the 5 zones. When you enter said zone, Mephisto will overcome you, engulfing you with hatred, and once that happens, it's every player for themselves. Plus, there will be monsters in the area and maybe even higher density in these zones. When slaying or doing the slaying, you will lose or gain shards of hatred. This material is something you need to take to the altar of purity so they can be purified, and once you've done that, they will bind to your account, and even if you do die, they will not be lost. These are the red crystals that you may have wondered about during beta that were in between your gold and your obols. So we have no solid confirmation about this, but last year was talked about how they want this to have an extraction concept where once you start the process, it will mark the altar on the map for all players to be aware of. Whether you go in PvP enabled or not, you will have to fend off players. So if players want to come in and steal your shards and any possible loot that you may have gotten with your time inside the Plains of Hatred, they can do so. So I love the idea of a bounty system. They honestly label it the Vessel of Hatred, where if you are an absolute Chad slaying everyone around, you get marked for everyone to see your exact position. You'll have a timer on you, and it just gives other players incentive to team up and take you out. If you happen to run out your timer on your bounty mark, you can expect to see a bigger reward of shards of hatred. So if this mechanic sticks for full release, I would imagine on top of shards of hatred, any of the loot that you get from monsters will drop when you die. If any of you have played the Division and experienced the Dark Zones, this is what it reminds me of. Items that you can't equip right away, but have to be extracted. And we already know this is the concept they want to try and work with, the whole extraction thing, so we'll see how it plays out. Now, what kind of rewards can we expect from the Plains of Hatred? From the monsters inside, will we have increased chances to find legendary items or maybe even uniques? This is something I'm definitely looking forward to. Now, admittedly, I only dabbled a few times in Diablo 2 duels. I never tried low-level duels or LLDs, but I always watch players participate via Twitch or YouTube. Creators would host community-driven tournaments and really took the game to a different level, and I thought it was interesting. Now again, I never participated because I never thought that I could personally be good at it, but in Diablo 4 I told myself I definitely want to change that and dive headfirst into the scene. So something I am worried about, speaking of the potential balance issues that could occur, is scaling. How will this work so we don't get to farm lobies when we're level 60 to 100? Is there some sort of penalty when killing lobies? Will we be zoned when we're PvP flagged to somewhere around our level bracket? Will players be able to use unique sacred items and ancestral items? Something I would like to see also is some sort of arena system where every player is scaled down to a more linear system and are all on an even playing field. I think these are my main concerns when you talk about open world PvP. This is something that plagued World of Warcraft for a while and tons of other MMOs and just PvP oriented games. Some players are just going to be more skilled, and yes, I understand that that's just games, whatever. But at the end of the day, if you want people to partake in your activities in the game, you have to try and incentivize them anywhere that you can. If that means putting good players against other good players or higher levels against other higher levels, then that's what you need to do. Now, one thing that has been talked about a couple years ago at the BlizzCon is the ability to spend your red dust that you extracted to spend on certain vendors that offer cosmetics. So cosmetic junkies, get ready to go crazy. Collectors, you may want to pay attention to, because they did say that this will also include mounts. Now, what we don't know is, will this be seasonal based? Will we get different rewards based on different seasons? Will there be themes? These are things that they could really come out with and shock everybody. Apparently there's also a thing on the vendors called trophies. I have no idea what these are, and I'm kind of curious if this is just title or something more in terms of character customization. Now, PvP in Diablo 4 I think will be an interesting experience. With all the different reductions and cooldowns and crowd controls you can build into with each class, I really am curious how that will impact the scene. I remember hearing something about 93% of player damage is reduced when PvPing, so I would like to believe that there won't be any one-shot builds day one. But I also think, since this is something they are really trying to be involved with throughout the game, there's gonna be balance issues off the rip. I can't remember if they had any sort of PvP in Diablo 3. If they did, I definitely can't remember, and that may be because it was so bad, or honestly, nobody gave a damn. So I do think one of the bigger concerns with players may be the question, do I have to PvP? And the answer is no. Blizzard has learned from other titles that there are things that you don't force your player base to do, and PvP is definitely one of them. These activities are definitely optional, and you don't have to worry about accidentally entering a zone and enabling PvP, as there will almost certainly be a double check/accept system if you do want a PvP. So those who are like me and aimlessly wander about and explore, we don't have to worry about getting ganked randomly and losing anything. However, if you go into the Plains of Hatred and you start looting the monsters and want to extract with that gear, please remember, like I stated earlier, you will be marked for PvP when trying to extract. So something I was surprised we didn't get to test, or maybe is not even in the game, is the ability to duel other players. I, for one, would love the ability just to duel friends and partake in friendly wagers right outside town. I just want to collect some years, man, and I don't think that's a lot to ask for coming from a Diablo 2 player, and who knows, maybe I'll be able to do that come release. So what do you guys think? Will you participate in Diablo 4 PvP? Is it something you're excited for, or is it something you think doesn't belong in the genre? Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about PvP in Diablo 4.